Hey, y'all, welcome to the very third episode of the Stay at Home Son podcast. And today we have a very special episode because this is our very first review by the Stay at Home Sons. And today we're reviewing Thomas Dimopoulos' short film, Crush Cats, which is a super interesting, surrealist, political, and almost honestly kind of funny short film. So, Thomas, what did you think about this film?
Well, I mean, first I will say I might be a little biased because I think about things a little more analytically, and this is like, I guess, a little more like in the style of like, I guess, like a creepypasta or like a little horror short. But I think my thing was just like I had trouble like kind of like following it just because it's like all over the place because it starts with like two guys who have beef, and that was kind of hard to hear in itself, which I get what they were trying to do with the whole muffled sound effect, but you have to have some like just like dialogue in my opinion just to kind of like make it make sense to the viewer. Then it goes to anti-communist, so you're starting to see a little political, but then it shifts all the way to the other side of the spectrum from anti-communist to anti-ice, and then it goes back to the guy in the cat mask, and then it kind of goes back to the um and then it kind of goes, yeah, I guess it kind of sticks with like the anti-ice theme, but then we go to the environment. I believe we get a speech by Charles Manson with pro environment messages, which I think I guess that kind of adds a layer of creepiness to add a real life serial killer in the end.
Yeah, I
Um,
thought, you can keep going, Thomas. Yeah, keep going.
and then I was just gonna say my final point was like it was called like cats. What was it, like cat something?
Crush Cats, Crush
Crush
Cats.
cats, yeah, crush cats. But outside of him wearing the mask, it doesn't really have any references to cats.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I like those points, and I like how you kind of just analytically broke it down, like kind of like its segments and its layout. But personally, I really enjoyed it. I really like that surrealist feel. I think he does a really good job. I feel like he might have been influenced by a director called Say Saint John, who was pretty popular in like that early 2000s kind of YouTube feel when like the internet was pretty new, and he made like these kind of like comedic, but also at the same time kind of surreal and honestly a little creepy kind of like short films. And I felt like it was a lot of very Shay Shane John inspired, especially like with the pitched audio talking, like when he was the cat was talking and it sounded like that, like that really weird audio pitch. That's something Shay Shane John used to do. So I definitely see some influence there. I really liked it. I think one thing that he did was pretty impressive was that he was able to blend kind of comedy with a political message with surrealism. A lot of films that seem to like bank on surrealism, it's kind of hard to find that ground of comedy in it because it's just so like odd and bizarre. But I think the director Thomas here does a really good job of like blending in surrealism but also with comedy. And I like the name Crush Cats because what I think he's talking about, what I believe that what he's trying to say with this film is that we're curious like cats. Because I noticed in the caption he was talking about like curiosity like a cat, and we're all just like little curious cats. But like the way the world is right now and the way that our director sees the world, it's kind of crushing our curiosity because when we go out to look for these messages, we're not liking what we see. So in a way, we're all kind of like crushed cats. I think that's what he's going for with this. But I really like the visuals. I think a couple of things I maybe had a little bit of confusion with is the guy he was beefing with at the first part. I wasn't really sure who that was supposed to be. I guess he was supposed to be like kind of like a dictator over the cat boy or something like that, or like an outside influence.
We
I
never really
thought,
see him again.
yeah, we never really see him again. I thought that the intro was kind of like a little bit off-putting, but like I said, it could be a stylistic choice. And like I said, I'm not exactly sure exactly what he was going for with that. But I really did like the visuals with like the Nazi Germany and comparing that to ice and stuff. I thought that was very well done. Like how he had like the Nazi like music and soundtracks playing over the ice thing. I thought that was a pretty nice take. Pretty interesting editing for sure.
Yeah, and kind of like going off my point that I mentioned earlier, he starts kind of like anti-communist, so I kind of like how he like subverts your expectations by going to the other side of the political spectrum, being like, "Oh yeah, surprise, I'm actually against ICE." And
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool how it kind of shows that he's trying to figure it out. I feel like this filmmaker is not afraid to put himself out there as a director and say, I'm not exactly sure where I stand on things because I feel like the film in a way kind of contradicts itself. And I think that's intentional. I think he's kind of showing that we're all just, like I said, curious cats, and we're not really sure what we're trying to make conclusions of. Because are we this? Are we pro this? Are we anti this? Are we this? And I think that the confusion in a way kind of adds to the what the director feels about what's going on in the world. I don't feel like this is a strong message as much as it is a reflection of the I guess you could say dystopian times that the director's living in. So I thought that was a very good, interesting take he had. I
I think
really
the
did enjoy
movie,
it.
I think the movie sequence kind of takes that like that choice in itself because like well it's trying to figure out itself as well because like okay well we start as like a typical horror film with like muffled sounds and him talking to another guy and we were like oh he's gonna try to meet up with the guy or I don't know the he's gonna that's gonna factor into it later but then it goes into like a political message so I mean yeah I think the movie's trying to figure itself out as well.
Yeah, and I like that though, because I kind of like filmmakers that aren't afraid to figure themselves out while making the film. Because I feel like it sometimes you're kind of like learning as you go with how you feel about it. In a way, films are kind of a representation of how you are as a person. And I really like how self-aware Thomas is here when he makes this film about like just the confusion he's in with the way the world is. I really think he does a good job of showing that in the film. Another thing I really like is I think he's from Canada. I've noticed Canada's art scene is really cool. It has like a very surreal vibe. There's a musician out there that I like. She's super indie. Her name's Shay Toll. I listen to her a lot, and it kind of has that weird like surrealist feel to it. And I really do like that. And I think whatever they're doing out in Canada, that art scene is definitely something I wouldn't mind being a part of one day for sure. I really like it.
Maybe it's because of the natural beauty up there, honestly. Because like a lot of like their mountains and prairies and stuff are so surreal. It's just like you have to paint a picture of it. And
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like there's just so much creativity in the mountains and so much beauty around them, and also it's so darn cold. It's like, what else is there to do sometimes, you know? So I really do like that Canadian art scene. Every time I see something from there, I'm very impressed. But I'm excited to see what Thomas goes with his career. I think he's definitely got a unique message. I think he's definitely saying stuff that other filmmakers are scared to say or other filmmakers just wouldn't dare touch. So I've also watched a couple of his other things. I saw one called Texas Roadside Pigs. I thought that was pretty interesting. And like I said, I think he has a really good talent for taking this surrealism, but also adding a comedic layer to it, which is just a very hard thing to do, honestly, because once you dip so into that surrealist vibe, it's so hard to bring any type of relatability to it. And he's very talented in the way he's able to do that. That's something that I don't think I've seen with a lot of directors, besides maybe Shay St. John. I mean, I can tell he's definitely inspired by Shay St. John for sure.
I also kind of like how him adding like the comedy and the horror and stuff at the beginning kind of makes it like something for like I guess in a way like all audiences because like when you have a political message you kind of like divide like half your audience but I feel like that's something like everybody can rally around that like oh they have cool effects and there's comedy and
Right, yeah, he made it more accessible, but also like surreal at the same time. And what I think it's also kind of like cool is it's not really saying like blurt and like this is bad, this is good. It's like I'm just trying to figure it out. And I think we need more of that in filmmaking where people aren't afraid to make something that's like up for interpretation in a way, not just such a this is the message you need to get from this film. And I do appreciate that. And I think we need more filmmakers kind of taking after that a little bit because it's more enjoyable for me to kind of think than just be told. You know what I mean?
yeah it's kind of fun to like I guess go on like a Reddit forum or something after and be like this is what I thought the message was and this is what I think.
Yeah, but all in all, I really did enjoy it. I think I would definitely watch it again, and I would definitely keep up with Thomas's work. But you got any final thoughts here for your review, Thomas?
Um I mean, like I said, I mean, I personally thought about it more analytically, but I think after our discussion today, I would probably go back and like rewatch it and just like kind of like loosen it up and enjoy it a little bit more. I thought it was a very enjoyable film. I really liked a lot of like the colors and stuff. Like in the beginning, a lot of the sound effects were very cool. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, the visuals were awesome. I liked the style. And also going through his Instagram, he seems like a really cool director, really fun director to work with for any actors out there that want to be casted in a really cool surrealist kind of short film. I would definitely hit him up to see if you want to be in any of these projects. And I appreciate you, Thomas, for coming on. I appreciate you for showing us your film. And I definitely recommend it. Honestly, I would give it a really high score. I don't do ratings because I feel like that's too objective, but I would definitely say this is definitely a film you should definitely watch if you want to be entertained, if you want to have a almost be a little creeped out, but also at the same time have a little bit of a message told to you in a way that's up for interpretation. So all in all, I really did enjoy the film. And thank you all so much for watching today's episode of the Stay at Home Son podcast. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and also shoot us a DM if you want us to review your film. We keep it honest. We watch every bit of your film and we will have an honest conversation about it. So thank you all so much for watching. And remember, stay at home.